Hiya Martin, lovely to meet you and start doing some work on your game up at the range. I trust you enjoyed your day. It was a good session, very productive session, covered a lot of areas. I've sent you the images across today relating to the changes that we suggested, and the main thing related to the path of the hands. We talked a little bit about your ball position and your face angle with driver and where you hit it on the face and how important that is, but really regarding the swing, it was relating to the path of the hands and the effect that that has. So if we look at what we want to do within the pattern, we'd like to get the hands working inwards and upwards at a steady rate from P1, the address position, to P3 when the left arm's parallel with the ground. So Charlie's demonstrating that, done pretty much to the max, you know, as we said on the in the session, potentially a little bit overdone in a few areas there, but it demonstrates nicely the inward movement of the hands, or the inward aspects of the hands and the arms. If we look at the move that you were making at the start of your session, now bear in mind we're hitting shots here that are leaking off to the right, so the path wasn't in enough, the swing direction was a little bit too much to the left, and as a result the path of the club was very in line, or slightly across the ball at the very best. And what we need to do is get the ball, or get the club to come a little bit more from the inside. So we can see that the hands start to elevate onto that upper line a little bit too quickly, and then when we get to P3 you can see that the hands are above plane. That has some sort of knock-on effects in the way, in regards to how the shoulders and the hips look, etc. But by and large that was my main concern. So what we did was spend some time drawing back the right foot, working on the bowling drill. This allows you to feel the inward aspects of the hands a little bit more, and you can see that during the sort of, this is what, 4 swings later, the hands and the arms are a little bit more in on the way back. And as I suggested during the session, you cannot do this too much at this stage of proceedings. So if we take a little look here at the first swing you made with driver, we can see that at P3 we're looking pretty much straight down the arm. And then this swing here was midway through your session where you've been working on that feeling of working the arms in for longer, and you can see there now that the arms are angled in much more. So we've got a nice progression. Here the arms aren't angled in enough, here they're angled in a little bit more, and then now we're starting to get where we'd like to be, and we talked about where the grip should hit the base of the right bicep as opposed to the top half, and where we were at the start, which was through the right shoulder. So you're starting to see a progression at that point throughout the swing. So the arms needed to come in more. Now when the arms come in more, that means that as you start down at P5, when the left arm's parallel with the floor again, the arms will be angled in a little bit more, and that will allow the club to be able to be presented slightly from the inside. You see there where Charlie's sweet spot is slightly in behind his hands at delivery, just about make out the sweet spot there, or make out the club head at that point in the swing. So with yourself, at the start of the session, the arms hadn't come in enough. There was a little bit of excessive turning going on early in the swing, pulling the arms out more. And at P5 we're looking at an arm that's pulled out, and again way too much above plane, the shaft hitting you on and just above the right shoulder at that point. With the right foot drawn back, the rate at which you can turn through this golf ball starts to become curtailed. So now we start to see an arm that is angled in a little bit more at P5. Everything above plane. Starting to shallow the club out a little bit more. So the position of the club coming into impact, rather than being on this higher line, is now starting to get a little bit more in behind the hands, ready to present the club from the inside. With driver, Again, a little bit more from the inside. Now, one of the things that we touched on was that the head does come up and comes back. This is something that a player does when the arms are pulled out too soon. If the player doesn't start to stand up and tuck the hips, he's doomed to come across that ball in a very severe manner. So that movement up and off the wall is something that you've had to do to make up for the incorrect movement of the hands and the arms on the way back. The arms being pulled out a little bit too soon in transition. As a result, that's allowed you to hit some quite inline shots. If you didn't do that, you just hit a lot of big pulls, a lot of big slices, etc. So we still do that, but there's much less of a need to do that because the arms are not getting pulled out too early. And we could actually stay in flexion a little bit longer on that. Now, I do have something that I'd like to touch on with you relating to that move through the ball, but I don't want to do it until a couple of weeks' time. So what I'd like you to do is keep working on getting the arms in and appreciating what the club face is doing through the hit. Keep working on the bowling drill with the exception of everything else for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then in 2 or 3 weeks' time, I'd like you to send me some footage across. And I will then discuss how to keep your head in that box for a little bit longer during the downswing and give you some more stuff to work on. But if I was to throw that in the mix at this stage, it would just confuse matters a little bit for you. So we appreciate where we're hitting the club on the face with driver, appreciating the effect of ball position in general, but overall the overriding thoughts are to get the arms in more on the way back and control the rate at which we turn through the ball on the way down. So arms in, control the rate of rotation on the way through, particularly in the early part of the downswing. And the way to achieve that is lots of work on the drill that you see there on the bottom left hand side of your screen, where the right foot's drawn back so that the toe end of the right foot is just behind or in line with the left heel. If you do that, you'll start to control the golf ball. When you're doing that exercise, you should expect to see pushes and slight draws. We certainly don't want to try and make the ball go too straight from that drill, as that would produce problems further down the line. Good luck with it. If you've got any questions, feel free to give me a call. Say hi to everybody at Straven Golf Club, and I look forward to coming up there, spending some time with you in the summer months. Well done.